everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Successful Women's TV show. My name is Galit Ventura-Rosen, and I am co-founder of Everyday Woman TV. As an entrepreneur for 25 years, one of my favorite things in the world to do is interview women that are doing what they love and making a difference in the worlds of others. So I'm excited today to have with me Molly. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
I am excited to share. I always say the bios are about that much of what we've accomplished. And if not, I'll probably spend the entire 15 minutes just reading your bio. But it's so much more fun when I get to learn from you what you do and you get to share value. So we'll go ahead and share just a tidbit about you.
Yeah.
And then once I share your bio, we're going to jump right into the topic, which is what are you anchored to? So stay tuned and don't go anywhere, those of you that are listening on my podcast and watching on Everyday Woman TV. So Molly Trotter-Gomez is a former television news anchor and has made appearances on ESPN. Molly has helped thousands of people share their real, bold, and authentic voice unapologetically. Nearly a decade of experience in front of the camera, which you can tell you're just absolutely gorgeous and a natural. I knew that the second I met you. Has earned her the title of Master Communicator, and she has helped hundreds of coaches lock in their confidence using their real voice to grow their business. Molly is a co-founder with Girl Power Alliance, helping Christian women grow their Christ-centered resources for personal and professional development with an opportunity attached. I love that. I love that you have such a specialty. So Molly, take us there. Why the topic? What are you anchored to?
I have found there's so many people that are just kind of, for lack of better visual, like flopping around. They don't know like what they believe. They don't know what their foundation is. They haven't taken the time to go there. Let's just put it that way. We'll make it simple. And some of the anchors that were really highlighted to me when I had this revelation are things like fame, money, power of proximity, validation is a big one. And those four specifically, we could go on, but people are so anchored to those things. And when they don't have that, then they're just kind of all over the place. Because when you think of an anchor to a boat, what does it do? You drop the anchor, you stay in one place. It keeps you, just like in that environment. You're settled. But if you're anchored to something that isn't solid, then it's just going to be a wild roller coaster ride, even more whiplash than regular. So I'll just kind of leave it at that and see where you want to take that.
Well, take me for a second. Let's use money, because I want to walk everybody that's listening and watching. When somebody is anchored to money, what does that mean?
Yes. Yeah. So when somebody's anchored to money, it's more of, you look at it like this. Money rules you rather than you ruling money. Money's a resource. It's a tool. But so often we allow money to rule us. What does my bank account look like? I don't have enough, this and that. And we build up these like fears and anxiety around it rather than looking at it. Okay, there are a lot of opportunities out there if I need to go make more money, or how can I use this resource better so then I can steward it in a way that's actually going to, not bring me fear, stress, and anxiety. But too often we get attached to what we don't have rather than steward what we do have. So a lot of people freak out and really give their power over to a piece of paper that has some kind of value, but it shouldn't have authority over your life.
Oh, I love that. All right, let's go there. We're giving power to something like money, or something like, what were some of the other examples you gave, Molly?
Fame, power, proximity, validation.
Perfect. So validation is a huge one for a lot of the women that watch the show. Okay. So money and validation are huge for those that are watching and listening. So you're giving all of this power over to validation. Let's jump, because that's another great one.
Yes.
How do you stop doing that?
First and foremost, I have this phrase of like, you got to self-audit yourself.
Okay.
Like where is this actually coming from? And so when you look at a tree, for example, the tree is comprised of a lot of different pieces. You got the branches, you got the leaves, you got the roots. You have to do the root work. If you just trim the branches, rake the leaves, you're just doing surface level work. Not that it's not important for the upkeep, but you have to dig down deep into the root and do root work to be like, where's this even coming from? Because if you're giving your validation away and waiting for, Galit to give it to you, you're waiting for your parents, you're waiting for people that you love and care about, or just the followers on the internet to give it to you, you are in something that is actually very dangerous, because you're allowing them to be like, whatever you say goes. And now that's labeling you, and that's going to prohibit you and stop you from doing a lot of different things. So that's kind of scratching the surface level. But a lot of people just get stuck in that because they don't really have that belief in themselves. They haven't done the root work as to, why do I really care about what this person thinks? Sure, I love them and I appreciate them, whatever. But you have to look at you in the mirror and be like, you know what? I'm 100% okay working on myself. I love myself. Like, let's start there, the person in the mirror, rather than having everybody else come in and tell you that you're good enough, not good enough, X, Y, and Z.
Well, I've learned in my growth, right? Because I'm one of those people that wants to learn for the rest of my life, and I want to grow for the rest of my life. I've learned in my growth that the more that I've learned to love myself, the more that I've learned to look in the mirror and say, I love you, which we both know, Molly, people do not do. Mm-hmm. The more I look in the mirror, like, I'm going to tell you a cute story. I always try to make myself vulnerable. So I've had a challenge with weight the last 5 years, I just turned 50 and hormones are all over the place and all those fun things. We won't go there. And I looked in the mirror yesterday. I'm like, you look good. People don't do things like that, Molly. They look in the mirror and they say, oh, this piece, oh, that piece, my eyes, my hair. They always focus on the things that don't work for them. And I think that's one of the easiest, most simplistic examples other women can relate to, because we're constantly judging ourselves. So now let's switch that to validation. You go, you post a picture of yourself on social media and 100 people tell you you're gorgeous. Oh, wait, do you start believing you're gorgeous now? What do you think?
Yes. We wait for how many people are going to like this to be like, oh yeah, that was a good picture. Or yeah, I am looking good today. Like, what I have learned, and it took me years to get to this point, because it's like, talk about being vulnerable, posting something without makeup on, your hair's not done. You're in the middle of doing something and you look like a hot mess. The world actually loves seeing the raw and the real. They don't want always somebody like made up and perfect and, just constantly produced. So it's like, you have to ask yourself, like, what would you want to see? People want to connect with real people, authentic people. That's the stuff that, not that this means really anything, goes viral. It's like, you know what? This is real. I relate to that. And they can't relate to somebody who's trying to be picture perfect all the time. But you have to, like you did when you talked about your weight, you got to celebrate those wins, whether they're tiny or whether they're massive. And we don't celebrate ourselves nearly enough.
No, we don't. And going back to the viral thing, I do want to talk about that for a second. I think it's okay for those that are watching and listening going, I want my video to go viral. And I know you and I, Molly, are on the same page with this, because the more people that we reach, the more people that we can inspire and motivate and educate, because you and I are so heart-centered and that's what we do. Yeah. You and I could have totally different kinds of careers. The reason that we chose this influencer, the reason that we chose this content creator is because we know we can make a positive impact, right? So one of the things I love that you said was be genuine, be authentic, and recognize I'm one of those people too. I post my good days and I post my bad days. I don't look like this when I wake up in the morning. Okay, guys. And you've seen me on my social media with my hair in a bun and no makeup and no lashes. And you don't have to do that. You can just share a real story or something vulnerable. Now, we started talking about how to, we scratched the surface a little bit with how to release that anchor. I'm going to call it release. What kind of terms do you use, Molly, when it comes to that anchoring and moving on from it?
Yes, exactly. Release the anchor, cut ties with it, get rid of it.
Oh, I like that one. I like cut ties, Molly. So let's go a little bit deeper. We've got somebody that really is challenged with being anchored to money. Every decision they make, they're always focusing on what they don't have instead of what they do. They're always saying, I'm never going to have enough. And this phrase is one of my pet peeves. I can't afford it. I like to use the phrase, it's not a smart choice for me right now to purchase. I don't know if you have a phrase that you like to use.
That's good. You know what? I haven't actually had too much thought in it, because I always tell people, whether you focus on you can't or you can, you're right. So where do you want to focus?
Yes.
And what are you dedicated to making happen for yourself? But I like that you said it's not a smart choice for me right now. That verbiage is very powerful.
Yeah, for me, my growth has been changing a lot of the words. So I'm not anchored to the things that you're talking about, right?
Yes.
And I think that you also brought up power and fame. And I love that you brought up fame because today, with the technology that we're in, it's made it more challenging to have your own validation because now there's so many people that you're allowing access to your life, right?
That's right.
And a lot of the women that watch are entrepreneurs and are out there heart-centered and want to go viral so people will be inspired by them or learn from them or hire them. So what are some more tips that maybe we could give a little bit more than just scratching the surface for someone that might be anchored to money?
Yeah, when it comes to anchoring money, I mean, again, I'll reiterate this because it's so important. Most don't do it. Go back to the root work. Where did that come from? And take time and give yourself space, whether that's 10 minutes, an hour, a month, a year. Like, I don't know how deep that goes for you, but you have to give yourself that space because it could be something back in your childhood that you have totally suppressed, or it could have been something that happened 4 months ago of what somebody said. You have to go back to those places and bring light to those dark places, because so often we keep these places dark because we don't want to visit them. They're painful. We don't want anybody to know, but bring light in, share it with somebody, go have a, conversation back and forth and really be able to bring light into that place so it can bring healing. And it's just going to be so much better, so much better. So when you look at money, you got to ask yourself, like, what is it that you want this time next year?
Okay.
So many people, like at the beginning, they're like, yeah, this is what I want. But then it's like, okay, we can have wants, we can pray for it, we can have dreams. But then what's the action steps behind it? So what do you want? Reverse engineer it. How do I get there? There's going to be periods of hard times. So when it comes to money, I know a lot of people are like, I just need more of it, right? That's why we have that anchor to it, is because it's ruling us because we don't have enough or we're not stewarding it correctly. But what do you need to do? What commitment do you need to make to yourself to, maybe have a hard period of time? Okay, for the next year, I got to be dedicated to this because I want this kind of result. When you take that power back, being like, I'm going to do everything that I can and I'm going to trust, the results are going to line up. And then understand that it's, there's a lot of things out of your control, but what you choose to do every day, that 1% better every day, that adds up. You're sowing seeds and the harvest is going to come. So don't get stuck being like, oh, I don't have enough. That should be a like, all right, warning. There are so many opportunities out there. There are so many people that can pour in and teach me how to do X, Y, and Z. A lot of free resources. You are not lacking resources. You're lacking discipline to go out there and actually make something happen for yourself, because no one's going to do it for you. So it's like you see these people literally like an anchor. It's chained to a boat, right? So when I was talking about cutting ties, you are wrapped up in that chain and you can decide to cut it off if you want to. If you want to. That's the thing. So many people, it's like, oh, I want to. Well, then do it. Make the decision to do it. Because when you tell your brain we're going to do this, what is it going to do? Let's find ways to make it happen. But we just sit there, I can't, I won't. Like, you really won't. It's not that you can't. You just are deciding, I'm not going to do that. So start actually telling yourself, instead of, I can't do this, being like, I won't do this. And see how that sits. And
So
that's why people get so anchored to that.
you said one of my favorite phrases, I think you said reverse engineering. Is that the right phrase? It's one of my favorite phrases, because a lot of times we get so caught up in what we want and it looks so overwhelming. We don't think, stop. This is what I want. Let me back it up. I always think of a truck, right? Back it up and let me figure out. And one of the other things that you said that I really loved was every day. Every day. And I'm going to share something again that makes Molly and I real. I work on money mindset every single day. I have this saying that if none of us had money mindset issued, we'd all be billionaires. Okay. So every single day you got to make a commitment. You look at someone like me and Molly and think we've got it all together. We don't have to do any work. No, we do work every single day. And another thing that Molly said that was so important to stand out for you is look at where your money mindset comes from. Look at where that money anchor comes from, because you've got to go back. And it's usually back because it's not from today. Okay.
That's right.
Go back, figure out where it comes from. And then the last thing she said that was perfect. And then I want her to talk about the awesome things she's doing to work with people is she said, take the time every day And I love to put in, make that appointment with yourself. I always say, make that appointment like you would a paying client. But if you don't make the choice, right? You said just do it, which is one of my favorite phrases. Just do it.
Yes.
Make the choice every single day. So Molly, I love what you said about anchoring and money, especially money and validation, because that's where most of us really struggle. Will you share a little bit about what you do and how you help others, and then how they can get a hold of you to learn more about working with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so as you mentioned before, when it comes to Girl Power Alliance, I'm a co-founder in that company. It's a digital platform for women to grow personally and professionally. So they are able to come in, access our courses, live calls, certifications, to be a life coach, a certified speaker, certified leader. So you can really just get equipped, right? Then you mentioned, it is a Christian organization. That's the foundation. Yes. If you're learning from women who have a strong faith foundation, but they're experts in a variety of areas. So if you're not a Christian woman, but you're looking for a place to
you
come
can
and
still
learn,
do it.
Come on in, please. And then there's an income opportunity attached, where this is a network marketing opportunity. Where there's 6 different ways you can get paid by sharing this platform with other women who want to learn and grow and be able to grow at an affordable rate. A lot of people, out there don't have maybe thousands, tens of thousands of dollars to pour in. That's okay. There's a place to start, right? There's a place to start to grow. So I'm honored and humbled that I get to be one of the few that have started to see this opportunity, and just seeing women all over the world and over a dozen different countries come in, grow, transform in so many different ways. It's just amazing to watch, because women are feeling that it's time to do something, and we can't just sit on the sidelines anymore. We have to get in there and do the work. And somebody's waiting for you to show up and to share your story and to get out there. Believe that. I believe that with every fiber of my being. So the best way to find me is you can find me pretty much the same name across all handles: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Molly Trotter. I think I am Molly Trotter-Gomez on Facebook. But shoot me a message. Let me know that you heard this episode. I would love to be able to chat with you. And Galit, thank you so much for having me. This has been a really awesome conversation today.
Yes, I have to share before we go that one of my favorite things about this online world that I only entered myself 7 years ago, having a brick and mortar company for 25 years, I get to meet people like you, specifically women, because I work with men all day long in my other company. I get to meet women like you that I've never actually met in person, that I feel like at any time I could message her like I did. Hey, Molly, I'd love to have you on my show. Or, hey, Molly, I have a woman I want you to meet. Ladies, if you're out there listening and watching, you are not alone. There are a lot of people like me and Molly that are open to connecting with you, to teach you, to share with you our resources, our years and years of experience. Molly has this Girl Power Alliance. I said it right, Molly?
Yes.
I want to make sure I said it in the right order so they can find it. And she's sharing so many affordable options. So don't ever think I can't afford it. There are steps to everyone's business. Molly has that too. The do-it-yourself options. And then if you want to go up and up, you can probably do some more private stuff. But I want you to not say, again, money anchor, I can't afford it. Instead, check it out and then make a logical decision. And then if you still can't afford it, figure out how to afford it.
That's right.
Because if you're not getting the tools and the education and the knowledge you need from those that know how to do what you don't, you're going to be exactly where you are today in 10 years. And we don't want that for you, right, Molly? We don't want that.
That's right. We want you to find a way out. There's people with so many options. And so I love that you just went over all of that. It's a great call to action to go out there and do. That's how you're going to make a difference and be different in a different place from where you are now to this time next year.
Yes. Oh, I love it. All right. I'm going to end with an amen just because it was so perfect.
Amen.
Molly, thank you so much for taking the time to share your area of expertise with our ladies and a few men. I always say that. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate everyone that continues to watch and listen on the podcast and on Everyday Woman TV, the Successful Women's TV show. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.
Bye, everyone.